Hello, I'm Tom.
And I'm Denise,
We are runners in our 60s.
even if we don't act like it.
So, today's video is going to be about our recent 5K, which we ran about 10 days ago. And it was called the Run for the Shamrock. It was a race that was a fundraiser for the local high school, Sheldon High School track team. We're going to talk about the build up before the race itself, and what's going on with our running uh, post race and how we're going to build for the race in the future. So, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. So, I'm in the middle of a comeback right now, and it had a pretty bad year, 2025, where I essentially lost my aerobic base, and so I started from scratch basically. I think it was sometime around August or September. I think it was September actually of 2025. I began a very slow, incredibly slow buildup. And so my first race of this comeback was on Thanksgiving. Yeah, the turkey stuffer in our hometown of Springfield, Oregon. And I didn't really know what to expect. I ran something like a 27:15, which compared to my time less than a year before of 22:32, I wasn't all that thrilled with that time. But when you have no aerobic base, then that's kind of what happens. You start running, you run slow at first. Gradually, I built up my base to where I'm now back to 19 miles a week. And it's not like it's just been a steady upward progress. I've had a few little niggles. And another thing that I've been struggling with is not just little injuries, but fatigue. I've actually had to take a couple of days off due to fatigue over the last month or two. So that's, I'm not sure if that's age related or what, but that's hasn't really affected my training in that negative of a way, other than just maybe reducing my mileage by 1 mile, maybe 2 miles in a week. So I ran the turkey stuffer, ran another race on New Year's Day, Denise and I, and
Not me.
oh, she didn't. She just watched. And then, improved a tad bit, not as much as I would have liked. Then we ran in the couples classic on Valentine's Day week, and improved a little bit more, but I not as much as I really wanted to. But then 10 days ago at the Shamrock Run, I improved quite a bit, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So, Denise, what has been going on in your training and running?
Well, I started from scratch as well because I had an injury in the middle of November. I broke a shoulder. And so I stopped running for a couple of weeks and then started back very slow, running in an immobilizer. So I was somewhat compromised if I would have fallen. So I was pretty timid about that at first. And I had hoped to run first run on January 1st, but I just didn't feel up to it. I didn't feel like my shoulder was stable enough and feared falling while trying to run fast. So I have continued to increase my running and ran my first race back after November in on Valentine's Day when we ran the couples classic. And I was actually quite pleased with how I did. I knew I was going to be quite a bit slower than when I'd last raced, which was in end of October. So my training consists of 3 or 4 days a week. Generally, I'm more likely to run 3 days a week, and I don't run a lot of distance. So I most of my training runs are about 3 miles or 5K. So I've been using Jeff Galloway's training for most of my running career, which started almost 4 years ago when I was 64. So I run mostly, but I take interval walks. Currently, I've been doing about 100, 200 steps of running to about 30 steps of walking, and I just keep that up. So when I went into the race this last week, a week and a half ago, 10 days ago, I was determined I was going to stay with that from the beginning. I do tend to go out too fast in races, and I was determined that I was going to not go out too fast and that I was going to consistently do my Jeff Galloway routine, which I'd been training with.
So I was quite happy with the run for the Shamrock. I improved my 5K time from the previous run by over a minute. I think something like a minute and 10 seconds. And I think that indicates that my aerobic base is improving. I think that's what that means. I've been able to put in several 18 and 19-mile weeks, at least prior to the Shamrock, Run for the Shamrock. So, so yeah, I was quite pleased. My time was something like 25:37 for the 5K. And okay, I'm definitely not in the elite category for my age group, but I was pleased with that time. It was about 8:15 per mile. And as I've mentioned before, I do have a goal to get under 23 minutes for a 5K once again. Over a year ago, well, yeah, it's well over a year ago now. It was not this last November, but 2 Novembers ago, I did run a 22:32. So I'd like to return to that kind of fitness once again, barring injury. I have to mention there's a guy named Jeffrey who is about my ability level. He's, I think, a 67-year-old man. And he was there were two races. There was a 5K in the Run for the Shamrock, and there was also a 10K. And he paced me for that 5K en route to his 10K. So that was really nice of him. And so the races, the 10K runners went their way, and the 5K runners went their way, actually towards the end of the 5K. So it was really nice to have him pacing me. And so, yay, Jeffrey. And so I ran very even splits, averaged 8:15, and so that was good. It was, I'm not sure if I would call it negative splits, but just very even. So I think that contributed to running well. So yeah, I guess that's it for my particular race. What about your race, Denise?
So I did go out not too fast. I was pretty pleased with myself. That's a rarity. And I did stick with my 100 paces, my 200 steps of running to the 30 steps of walking. And I wasn't running against anybody. I was just running against myself. And my goal was to beat my couples classic time. So there'd been 4 weeks that had gone by between those two races. And I think I'd run it in something like 30, 34, 31. And I decided my goal was to run it in less than 30 or 34 or better. So I don't look at my watch much during a race. If I see a mile marker, I'll glance down at my watch to see what my time is. But I don't really have a feel for whether I'm going faster or slower than I want without looking at my watch. So I just tried to feel what felt right to be consistent in my run. And my splits were negative slightly, I think, but pretty consistent. And I was really pleased with that. So I did come in. I actually came in, I think, at 3:31. So I did better than I planned, and I was very pleased with that. But what I did discover is I'm always saying I only run against myself, but the first statistic I looked at was where did I fall in my age division? And then it was about 15 minutes later when I actually thought, I don't remember, I didn't look at the clock apparently, and I hadn't looked at my time. So when I looked at my race receipt, it had been printed incorrectly. It had showed me a second in my division, and it had not shown me my final time. So I went back and got another receipt, which showed I was first in my division. Yay.
So
And
was I.
yes, and I had done better than I had planned, so I was very pleased. And oh, we didn't mention our awards for first place in our division. Oh, I didn't bring mine with me. Just imagine it on my head too. So that was our first place winnings.
We won hats. What's next for our running and racing 5Ks? Well, I'm going to be running the Eugene Marathon 5K, not the marathon, but they have a 5K one day before the Eugene Marathon, and that's going to be April 25th. And I'm hopeful it's going to be a flat course. And my goal for that particular race is to break 25 minutes. I know that's a whole 38-second improvement, but I figure that it's possible since I improved by over a minute in my last race that perhaps I could improve by 38 seconds and actually break 25 minutes. So that's my goal. And train as far as training goes, I'm not gonna alter it much from what I'm doing now. I'm running 3 days a week, and my goal is to run 19 miles per week. I do strides 2 days per week, and I may start adding hills as well as hard days once a week as well. My focus has been just building an aerobic base, so I haven't been too concerned about doing faster stuff or harder workouts. At some point I will. My long-term goal probably is the turkey stuffer in November, where hopefully I'll be under that 23-minute goal by then, but that's quite a ways into the future. And so those are basically my goals, upcoming goals. And what's happening with you in the future?
Well, I have a race I plan to do earlier in April, so it'll be in the evening. It's Oregon Track Club's monthly race, and it'll be probably the same course or similar course to the one that we did last, the Run with the Shamrock. So relatively flat, and I would like to improve on my time, maybe 15 seconds better than what I ran last time. And my training has stayed pretty consistent, so I'm running between 3 and 5 miles, 3 or sometimes 4 times a week. So 10 to 12 miles per week, basically. I'm not sure if I'll ever push past that. I may. In the past, I have trained more than that, but I've been pretty happy with that. I ran 5 miles last week, and I was wiped out for 2 days. So maybe I just need to slow down. I may work back up to that, but I'm not going to push myself too hard, at least not in any hurry. So I'm going to stay pretty consistent with the training that I've been doing and work at just slowly whittling off some of that time.
I might add that I also do cross training, and twice a week I visit the gym, and part of that visit involves strength training twice a week. So for all, from my legs clear on up to my arms. And I also do the elliptical twice a week. So that gives me, cardiorespiratory conditioning 5 days a week. And the elliptical is strictly aerobic, kind of in the zone 2 category, so I don't really push it hard. And the first thing to go in my training, if I'm feeling fatigued or niggles or things like that, the first thing to go is going to be the elliptical. The best training for running is running. That's what's going to make you go faster. The elliptical is similar to the running movement, but it's still not quite running, so it's not going to be as effective as running itself as far as preparing you for races. So that's what's going on with our training and our future ambitions. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.